is when I was a nipper, basically football clubs were controlled by the board and they got paid royally, and footballers got paid nothing. I mean, literally, 4 shillings for turning up.
Yeah, we'll get somebody else if you don't want to play.
That's right. If you don't want to play, I can get
Plenty
somebody
of people
else on
want
the
to play
pitch.
football.
That's right. So the whole thing, really, all the money that was earned from that football club, went into this this leadership and bureaucracy.
It was like a club.
It was a club. That's right. And pretty well, the players just got paid sweetie money, nothing.
They're club members.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. Now, if you shift that to today, and imagine that same football club, that pyramid has completely turned on its head now.
Yeah, the footballers get the
money.
money.
The footballers get the money. The people who add the value, who attend the pitch
I don't resent that because
no,
skill.
That's right,
and that's market forces. When people complain how much a footballer gets, I go, "You go and do it then."
Yeah,
and
fantastic.
They go, "Oh, I can't."
So, but that's the change we're talking about here. It's
Yeah.
the people who are on the pitch get the money, and actually the people who are in the rest of the organisation don't get that much. But they always have the opportunity. You can go in the pitch.
Yeah. The only other person who gets a lot of money though is the manager. Look, Jurgen Klopp, who I think actually is a brilliant manager. He gets a lot, like 15 million a year or something. But you could argue he does add value in some way to the.
Well,
he's one of the team in a way because he's in there.
He has to pick the players, doesn't he?
Yes.
Yeah, he's the guy that says on Saturday we got 11 players, and these are who they are.
But also the strategy.
And the strategy
I'll
as
play
well.
Salah in the middle this time because he's better than And I think, in a way...
Now, I would accept that, by the way. And I don't think his job is a manager, by the way.
Yeah, you don't see him as a non-value adding.
No, I definitely. I see him as something which is very, very different from a traditional manager.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm absolutely sure he adds as much value as any of the players.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to get my head around now, devil's advocate... If I was the manager of a factory, am I not a little bit Jurgen? Am I not thinking, why don't we buy one of those new digital extruders? Or why don't we fit a thermocouple in every machine? And you could argue the operators would know that, but why don't the players know who should play next Saturday? And Jurgen's strategic brilliance, could I not have been... Maybe the Jurgen Klopp of a plastic.
So let's say yes to that, and let's say right. So how do you go about that? You're the manager of this department, right? And you're you're Jurgen Klopp, and you've decided that you're going to transform this particular department to something that's brilliant. So what's the benefit for you from doing all this, taking all this risk, doing it all differently? How are you going to be rewarded differently? How's your role? Because obviously your role is going to expand into other people's areas because you're going to have to change the shape of that department.
Well, in football, he gets paid more if the team win.
Yeah, but how does that go back to your analogy?
If I'm the Jurgen of the factory.
Yeah, how does that work for you?
Well,
you get an extra, 1%, 2%? Maybe you could pay a rise, 3%.
I sort of maybe don't get fired.
Well, maybe not. That's a better one.
But you could give me some sort of a bonus based on...
Based on what?
Output of the factory.
Not many managers get that.
Hard to relate it to money, though, exactly.
You see, when Jurgen, it's not about output of the factory, because it's about winning.
Yeah, it's more measurable.
You can output as much junk as you like from your factory.
Yes.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean a thing.
So are you saying that it doesn't transfer across because the factory isn't measurable? The key is the measurableness.
Well,
rather than what I actually do.
So you're just part of a show, aren't you? When you're making things, somebody has got to have sold it. Somebody's got to account for it. Somebody's got to, strategized about it. Somebody's got to designed it. So you're just part of a show.
Yes.
And you can't say, well, because I produced it, I'm the most important man here, and there's all the benefits accrue to me. Well, you go, wait a minute. The designer will probably stand up and say, well, that's a little hogwash. Because I've done all the designs and I think they should all accrue to me. Then the salesman then stands up and say, well, you two sit down, you're talking
but
nonsense.
You could divide it up. You could divide it equally between us.
Okay, so let's do that.
Or you could calculate the value of what I've produced compared to the materials and say I've added this much. I mean, they're probably...
Really? Because the purchasing department says, we didn't do that. That's a load of rubbish. I did all that.
Yeah.
But in reality...
So I accept it's hard to apportion the profit made between the departments.
But that's not the issue. The issue is we go right back to the thing you like is to reform and improve things. So you've got this fictitious...
Yes, so it's not the material I've churned out, it's the improvements I've made to the factory. How do you measure that?
You've got this fictitious vision of this factory manager going around systematically improving and transforming things for the better.
You're just
that's
saying
not that's not the way that most factory managers live. Maintaining the status quo and not having crises is where they really live.
Yeah.
So this idea, unlike your football manager, who's constantly improving and changing things, is a fantasy in terms of the factory manager. And I believe it's because the football one now is upside down.
Yeah.
So in the old days, when the football was the club bureaucracy and then the players were just members, I reckon you would have had that old-fashioned factory managing type.
Yeah.
Bureaucratic. Everything stays as it is because we made money last month.
Yeah.
Whereas now, because it's upside down, the players are much more demanding of the management, and now the management has to offer some magic every single match.
Yeah. So if I was the type of factory manager that was making improvements all the time, you'd feel
and the factory was upside down, where your staff, I say your staff, they were the ones who were demanding your magic from you.
Because they were making so much money as a win bonus.
Well,
they were saying, I'm not putting up with
That's
this.
right. So they're knocking on your door saying, Chris,
sorry mate.
Sorry to disturb you. Don't know what you're doing, but you need to sort this out for the end of the month.
I remember once, I want to go back to this a minute, but I've got to tell you, once a little delegation came into my office. We were making printing presses. And they said, Chris, one of the machines is making a terrible noise. We don't know what to do. And I said, well, what are the options? Because I thought, I've got no idea. I don't even know what this machine is. I'm in charge. But
good engineer.
Because there's just hundreds of machines, probably a jig borer. And I said, what are the options? And they said, well, we could just buy a new one, but that'd be really expensive. We could just run it till it breaks, because it might go on for ages. Or we could open it up and do a bit of a bodge and just, keep that will probably make it last longer. They're the options. And I said, which one do you reckon we should do? And they said, we think probably the third one, do the bodge. And I went, brilliant, do that. And they went, thanks, Chris. And out they all went. And I remember thinking, it's easy being a manager. But also, I've added no value whatsoever, because really they could have just made that decision. But they felt the need to come to me and ask me and get reassurance. And I actually think, in a way, it was good management to ask them what they think. But I was also struck by why was I there at all? And I remember swivelling in my chair thinking, this is this is a ridiculous game, really. What does it add? But to go back to the question, if I had a load of badly paid workers who do what they're told, which is the current model, unfortunately, and if I was a real Jurgen Klopp guy and was constantly having all the ideas and doing and thinking of stuff and improving things and making things better, in your book, would I count as a value-adding person?
Well, yes, because you're transforming the production environment.
Yeah.
So improving the efficiency of the production environment is absolutely critical to the success of the business, making it better getting more from less.
But it's just easier for the guys on the shop floor to do it, and they'll do a better job, clearly, because I can't possibly know every machine inside out the way they do.
They might well do, but the traditional role of a management in the bureaucratic model is to keep things flowing.
Keep it rolling, just keep it.
It's not to transform anything.
Just to react to problems.
Not have problems.
Yeah, ideally.